Recently, we've been getting some leaks regarding villains and as well entire story plots for Marvel Spider-Man 2. And it's been crazy because for 2 years we haven't got pretty much anything solid as far as gameplay or the story for the game goes since the initial reveal trailer. With that, every plot leak so far we have went over has mentioned the beginning of the game starting off with Pete and Miles taking down a serial killer. That is like the common thing that we're seeing. So today's video, we're going to be speculating what serial killer this may be, and there's at least 3 options, so let's get into that. Before we get into today's video, do you enjoy watching Spider-Man content on YouTube? If so, you found the perfect channel to join. For an affordable price of only $2 a month, you can get exclusive access to priority reply to comments, these cool custom badges I made myself, as well as some Spider-Man emojis. But wait, there's more! And lastly, you can get early access to content. If any of that sounds interesting, what are you waiting for? Join today. Thank you for your time. Back to your regularly scheduled content. So let's start off the initial rumor that sparked this serial killer plot. On 4chan, like 2-ish months ago, there was someone who apparently played the beta for Marvel Spider-Man 2 who said they had him play a certain section of the game where Pete and Miles were looking for someone in a green ski mask who looked like Sin Eater, but they made it clear that they were not entirely sure if it was Sin Eater or not. I guess apparently they didn't see like the weapon either, because if they did see the weapon and would have mentioned it, that would have probably been a dead giveaway to who it was that this person saw. But yeah, Sin Eater, to put it quick, if you don't know, Sin Eater is a part of the original 616 comic origin for Venom. He's a crooked NYPD cop who goes on a killing spree, kills Spider-Man's friend on the NYPD as Captain Jean DeWolf, if you didn't know, and then Eddie interviews the fake Sin Eater, leading to Spider-Man catching the real one, and because of that, Eddie lost his job. So I think it would be cool if they did the comic accurate Venom to a T like this, with even involving Sin Eater. I think that'd be kind of cool, but obviously, you know, like, it's Insomniac, I'm sure like they want to make up their own story. So I do think Sin Eater is possible, but unlikely, which brings me to my next choice, which would make a lot of sense actually in my opinion, Yuri Watanabe, aka the Wraith. So now let me explain, and we may get into some potential spoilers when we talk about Yuri, aka the Wraith. I will let you guys know when we, you know, get to there, and I will have like a timestamp on the screen to where you can skip in case you potentially don't want to be spoiled for the story of Marvel Spider-Man 2. But in the comics, Yuri Watanabe took over after Jean DeWolf was killed as NYPD captain. She built a good relationship with Spider-Man until one day she realized the justice system just doesn't really do justice all the time. So she took matters into her own hands and became the Wraith at one point. Spider-Man and her were rivals, but then I think ended up teaming up a couple times, if I remember correctly. But with that, they have set up a similar situation in Marvel Spider-Man when in the DLC she attempted to kill Hammerhead, then ended up actually killing a criminal by the end of the DLC, leaving him wrapped up at a crime scene, sort of like Spider-Man does, but she killed him, whereas Spider-Man obviously does not kill. I think Yuri would be a great choice to be this serial killer character for this plot, because Spider-Man has a personal connection to Yuri, and when he finds out his old cop buddy turned into a murderer, I'm sure it will tear at him, and that could be like a good emotional story. So now let's get into the potential story spoilers regarding Yuri. If you don't want the story for Marvel Spider-Man 2 potentially spoiled for you, skip to whatever timestamp on the screen says. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so if you did not watch my recent video titled "This is Too Good to Be Real" on Spider-Man 2, we talked about a huge massive leak for the game, and it pretty much has the whole summarized apparent story of the game, but it's coming from 4chan. So again, apparent, it might not be real, some of it could be real, but my thing is the post did get taken down, so there's maybe a chance that some of that could have been accurate, and the Sony snipers took down that post quick, so who knows. But in the plot leak, it said that Pete and Miles are going after a serial killer, and the twist is that it's actually Yuri Watanabe killing criminals, taking justice into her own hands, so that Pete has Miles back off, likely because, you know, it's personal between Pete and Yuri, and since Miles didn't come along until after Yuri went rogue. So I honestly think just because of that, it's very possible to see Yuri or Wraith being replaced as the Sin Eater as far as like the Venom origin story goes in this game. I think it could be super interesting, and it's sort of like reversed from the original comic origin for Venom. Instead of Sin Eater killing someone close to Spider-Man, it's someone close to Spider-Man killing I find that interesting, at least. Now this last option I feel is not likely, but who knows, you never know. The last option I think could be maybe Cletus Cassidy. Cletus Cassidy I don't think will turn into Carnage in this game, honestly, but it just depends on where they go with the story. I feel they might save him for the third game or just a future sequel in general. Unless he's a secret villain in this game, that could be cool, maybe, depending on, you know, how they do this entire story. But I do feel like they will save him for another time. However, if they do introduce him in this game, it would be interesting to see where they take Cletus Cassidy and like how they would utilize him. I think something they could do interesting is actually Symbiote City, like Web of Shadows, but instead of like Venom doing it, it's Carnage. I think that would make more sense too, story-wise, because I feel like Carnage would want to take over the world on a level like that and be in control of a bunch of symbiotes that just want to kill. I think that could be interesting dynamic, and as well, it's different enough from Web of Shadows in my opinion, and it gives a different dynamic versus Venom. I think in Web of Shadows, Carnage would have ultimately made more sense since Venom isn't usually about world domination, but at the same time, Carnage isn't necessarily either, but he loves killing, and these symbiotes in that game were doing nothing but killing, taking over New York. So I feel like if they do introduce Carnage, that could be an interesting thing to do with him, and as well would set up a sort of maximum Carnage story where Pete and Venom team up to stop Carnage. But as far as Cletus Cassidy being the serial killer for Marvel Spider-Man 2, I don't know, I don't think so, but I guess we'll see. Like I said, ultimately, I think Yuri, aka the Wraith, would make a lot of sense story-wise. So who do you think is the serial killer that Pete and Miles are supposedly going after in Marvel Spider-Man 2? Make sure you comment your opinion down below so I can discuss all that with you in the comments section. Thank you for taking time out of your day to click on this video. If you are new to the channel, I cover Spider-Man related scoops, rumors, leaks, confirmations for the games, movies, TV shows, and I try to upload as much as I can. So if any of that interests you, hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 2,000 subscribers. If you want more of this type of content, leave a like on the video. Don't forget to check out the latest video on the left if you haven't already. I hope you have had a good day and that you enjoyed the video. Until next time.